Yo, man, Jayson Tatum. Listen, this signature shoe right here. The Celtics beat the Heat. It's 3-1 now. If we get the first ever 3-0 comeback in NBA history, and the Celtics do it, and we have this shoe on the show, bro, special delivery got to get some credit, bro. I'm sorry, Boston. Come on, Celtics. We need a little playoff check. You know what I'm saying? Come on, let's get it. What's good, family? You are looking live at another episode of Special Delivery, and today we have the Jayson Tatum JT 1 on deck, man. This is Jayson Tatum's signature shoe, and I ain't gonna lie to y'all, these joints not that fire, but it is a Jordan Brand signature shoe for another signature athlete, and you know we are big fans of basketball sneakers on this show. So we definitely wanted to check these joints out and then dive into the whole leak thing that happened with them, because I think that's kind of messed up and it kind of ruined the release and the rollout for this sneaker a little bit. But before we dive into all that and all these details, you know the vibes, man. We gotta actually unbox these joints, so let's do it. All right, let's crack these things open, man. Take a look, see what we got inside. Okay, JT. First signature sneaker in the books. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, this is not my favorite sneaker silhouette. I can't lie, but this is an interesting shoe though. I will at least give it that. I do enjoy this colorway. As you can see, it's like a bread colorway. Officially, it's called the Zoo colorway, and it's inspired by the stories of Jayson Tatum taking Deuce Tatum to the zoo, which, like, you know, they're playing on the whole father-son dynamic, and I can definitely appreciate that. That's pretty cool. But the thing about it is you can actually see a little bit of that animal print. You got some tiger print back here on this back heel area. And then on the this overlay right here around the laces and the eye stays, you have like this leopard print, which is really interesting above all of this mesh material. And speaking of that mesh material, it's like all over the shoe here, as you can see. But the most interesting part about this sneaker for me is the TPU cage that it's in, that kind of gives you that that security, that added security and stability for your foot. You can see that right here. Looks really, really weird on this sneaker. And the weird part about it is that the shoe actually looks like it's kind of levitating above the midsole and the outsole a little bit. If you look, there's like a little gap here where the shoe is kind of floating. That's because this back heel right here is really, really thick. It kind of shoots up a little bit and then it slants down and then it goes into the forefoot. So your toe and your back heel are really the only parts of your foot that are sort of touching the ground here, which kind of makes sense because when you're playing basketball, a lot of people just play on their toes, right? And that's what Jayson Tatum does. And actually, if you look at the outsole here, you can see that there is a zoom unit in the forefoot, which is supposed to trigger that that explosiveness that you're supposed to get out of the sneaker, which is I think this is an interesting design concept, even if I don't necessarily like it aesthetically. Like, I think it makes sense from a just a basketball standpoint to kind of have that working here. And then you go to the back heel, you see you got that Jayson Tatum 0 right there. You got a signature right there, and then you got the Jordan Brand in this heel counter area, sort of embroidered in gold. And then you go up to the tongue. You've also got Jayson Tatum's JT signature logo right there on top of some tiger print right here on the tongue. So this is again not the most aesthetically pleasing design for me, but I think it makes a lot of basketball sense, especially with somebody like Jayson Tatum, who is an explosive athlete that does play on his toes. I think this makes a lot of sense here. But the thing about this shoe for me is not necessarily what it looks like, but more so what it represents. I think it's the most interesting thing, because as quiet as kept, Jordan Brand is really on this whole youth movement thing with their signature athletes, and I think it's kind of working out. I don't know. Let's talk about that a little bit, because that's so fascinating to me. The youth movement that Jordan Brand is on right now is so fascinating, especially when you look at it from the lens of these other companies that are their competitors. Take Adidas, for example, right? Like, you've got James Harden and Damian Lillard, who are their best signature athletes at this point, I would say, and they're both a little long in the tooth. Sure, you've got Donovan Mitchell and Trae Young behind them, but they've yet to really sort of cement themselves as cream of the crop NBA athletes. And then you go over to Nike, and you've got LeBron James, who is 38 years old and contemplating retirement. You got Kevin Durant, who's 35 now or 34, and he's getting pretty up there. And then Giannis is great, obviously, and in his prime, and that's cool. But then you've also got like Paul George, who I don't really know what to make of that model anymore. And the same kind of goes for Ja Morant, who is a Gen Z athlete, but a lot is in question with his signature shoe right now. But then you turn to Jordan Brand, and they've got like Luka Doncic and Zion Williamson and Jayson Tatum, who have all yet to hit their primes, but are playing some really good basketball, with kind of the exception of Zion when he does play at the very least. I just think that it's so fascinating that we're finally at a space with Jordan Brand, especially when it comes to signature shoes, that they have these athletes who have really managed to carve out a specific niche for themselves and have brought that to Jordan Brand, and Michael Jordan isn't really overshadowing it anymore. Like, this is the first time that this has really happened. And this isn't necessarily the first youth movement that Jordan Brand has had. When the brand actually first started in '97, they had athletes like Ray Allen and Rip Hamilton and a bunch of other dudes who were supposed to sort of carry the torch, but we were still too close to that Michael Jordan era. Right? Like, that was Michael Jordan's time. Now we're so far removed from it, and these athletes are kind of just making their way while being on Jordan Brand. And it's really fascinating to watch, man. I think it's going to be so interesting moving forward into the future. Unlike the release of these shoes right here, because like, I don't know, man. I don't know about y'all, but the leak kind of ruined these things for me. Let's talk about that leak, because I think that's a big deal. These sneakers actually came out to a little bit of controversy, I would say. So before these actually released, before we even got the official images of this signature shoe, there was a leak that happened that showed the shoes, this colorway in particular, and everybody on the internet roasted it. It was like, yo, like, is this is really the Jayson Tatum signature shoe? This is what y'all are coming with, Jordan Brand? And they asked Jayson Tatum about it in a press conference, and he was like, no, that's not the shoe. That's not the shoe, y'all. That's not what it's supposed to look like. And it turned out that, like, nah, that actually was the shoe, and this is what it was supposed to look like. And it kind of just ruined the expectations for the shoe in general. And that's why I hate leaks, man. Like, look, I don't really like this sneaker. I'll be honest about it. It just doesn't really vibe with me. But that doesn't mean that it's necessarily a bad sneaker. But when you put out a leak like that and the shoe isn't kind of dolled up, dressed up the way that it's supposed to be and presented in the fashion that it's supposed to be presented in, then a lot of people are going to be turned off by it. Like, they're just going to stay away from it, and it's going to ruin the perception of the sneaker overall moving forward. We see that all the time, specifically with signature sneakers. You're never looking at the actual sneaker in the way that it's supposed to be presented. You're looking at it in an unofficial way, where the colors don't really bounce out to you, where the details aren't really talked about, and that just makes the whole thing less fun. So I just want to say, man, to all you sneaker leakers out there, yo, please cut it out. At least when it comes to signature shoes, man. Basketball sneakers are already down bad enough. We don't need y'all ruining it a little bit more. But anyway, fam, that's a wrap for Special Delivery. I'm your boy Sykes, and this is the Jayson Tatum JT1 in that Zoo colorway. We'll catch y'all on the flip side. Peace.